Daredevil Born Again is a special TV series for me. Netflix's Daredevil is my favourite live-action superhero series of all time, and as such, I had high hopes for the Marvel Cinematic Universe's return to the world of Charlie Cox's Matt Murdock, Vincent D'Onofrio's Wilson Fisk, and all the returning characters from the Netflix's The Defenders saga who appear in Daredevil Born Again. I'm glad to say, I wasn't disappointed. Born Again is easily Marvel Studios' best TV show on Disney Plus thus far. But before we get into it, if you haven't done so already, please hit the subscribe button, drop a like and comment on the video, and if you're able, please sign up for channel memberships for exclusive content, which really helps us out. Anyway, let's get back to Hell's Kitchen. So, one of my problems with MCU shows is how they often feel like movies divided into parts instead of truly being designed for an episodic format. Like Born Again's first 2 episodes, the MCU's latest TV series doesn't face those issues. Netflix's Daredevil Season 3 was the strongest of the original show, so I was happy to see it have such an impact on the new series, especially Episode 1. Born Again comes out the gate swinging with some major decisions that change Matt Murdock. I was ecstatic to learn that after Born Again's creative overhaul, the MCU series would now include Eldon Henson's Foggy Nelson and Deborah Ann Wolf's Karen Page. Their friendship with Matt was at the heart of the original show. Born Again starts by reminding us how much we love these characters together, and I loved how we got to see that Nelson, Murdock and Page had become successful. The characters turned their dreams into a reality. The chemistry between them also remained on point as if no time had passed. However, we are catching up with these characters years after we last saw them, and you can feel that they have grown in interesting ways. I particularly love the flirting going on between Matt and Karen, my favourite pair in the Netflix Marvel series. However, things were not destined to remain peaceful forever. Wilson Bethel's Bullseye proved himself one of the most dangerous live-action Marvel villains in Daredevil Season 3, and the character returns with a vengeance in Born Again, leading to Episode 1's major tragedy. With some trickery involved, Bullseye gets Daredevil to leave Josie's, shooting Foggy just before the hero gets back to save Karen. From that moment on, we get the traditional brutal and bloody action that made Netflix's Daredevil so popular. One of the best aspects of the fight was how Matt's senses were visually depicted by the camera, tracking Foggy's heartbeats as his best friend was dying while he fought Bullseye. Some CGI elements to make Daredevil more acrobatic don't land as well as they could have, but the Bullseye fight is still effective and exciting. As we all expected, Foggy dies. I was devastated, and seeing Matt throw Bullseye off a building intending to kill him as well as giving up being Daredevil made the start of the series quite a somber affair. We then flash forward to a year later with Foggy's death casting a shadow over Matt. He is no longer Daredevil, and while he is successful with a new law firm alongside Kirsten McDuffie, his happiness has been drained. Matt's words at Bullseye's trial for Foggy's death were visceral, and I'm glad to see the villain sentenced to life in prison. The setup for the show includes Foggy dead and Karen being sent away. While that is hard to see, I feel like Matt shutting himself from the world after Foggy's death and leaving Karen alone is a plausible move based on what we've seen from him and how he has dealt with guilt in the past. At least for now, Karen is off to San Francisco and we are thrust into a new world. This new version of the Daredevil franchise includes Wilson Fisk running for mayor of New York City, which had already been set up by Disney Plus's Echo. Kingpin's mayoral turn means no illegal business for now. I like how that causes friction with Vanessa, as his wife has been commanding his criminal empire while the villain healed up from having been shot by Echo. Fisk and Vanessa's relationship promises to be a big part of the series, especially since she cheated on him with the mysterious Adam. Matt and Fisk's diner conversation is as exciting as the trailers made it seem. Cox and D'Onofrio have great chemistry, and it's interesting to see how there are nuances to how the enemies talk with one another. Sure, there is hatred and caution on Matt's side, but Fisk displays an interesting respect towards the hero. The conversation is as engaging as the usual Daredevil fight scenes, and it sets up an understanding between them. If Fisk reverts to Kingpin or if Matt dons the Daredevil suit again, the others will be there to come calling. As the elected mayor of New York, Fisk comments on how the city does not need vigilantes, with nods to Daredevil, the Punisher, and even Spider-Man. However, the episode focuses on the debut of another Marvel hero, White Tiger. I immediately like the late Camar de los Reyes' Hector Ayala, who jumped into harm's way to save a man from being beat up despite not wearing his White Tiger suit or the amulet that gives him powers at that moment. However, with the aggressors being undercover cops and one falling in front of a train, things take an unexpected turn. I really enjoyed how Netflix's Daredevil made the lawyer side of Matt Murdock as gripping as his action-heavy Daredevil persona, while Born Again's season premiere is more focused on the classic violence surrounding the character. Episode 2 spotlights Matt as a person. Watching Matt attempt to help a fellow vigilante with the law instead of his fists is interesting. Still hurt by what happened with Foggy, Matt is trying to keep his darkness at bay, so there is some intriguing debates as White Tiger and his philosophies come into play. Elsewhere, Fisk is trying to settle into his new life as mayor. I love how Born Again uses Fisk way more than Netflix's Daredevil. While he was the original show's main antagonist, D'Onofrio's character is a co-lead in Born Again. That means Fisk's corner is populated by his own team, with the beginning of interesting storylines involving them. At the end of episode 2, the devil must come out as Matt fights corrupt cops who try to kill a key witness in the White Tiger case. With a Punisher tattoo on one of them, things are heating up.